become defunct.
Yes.
And we wanted to understand how things would look like going forward with the Social Health Insurance Fund. It is still not very clear whether your contributions to the facility improvement funds that you have established are going to go up or they're going to go down. Because, Governor, as you have stated, is that Nyeri County still owes 278 million in terms of refunds under these new arrangements. You have stated that community health promoters, the national government share of 5,000 has not been paid for several months now, whereas the county
2,500
of 2,000.
Their share is 2,500. Ours is 2,000.
But the county has paid.
Yes.
The national government is yet to pay.
Has not paid.
And yet, these are the people we are relying on to roll out SHA and to do the means-based testing in the various facilities.
Yes.
And so we cannot expect much out of them. But I think it must go on record that the committee agrees with the concerns raised around the equipment placement arrangement, particularly on the question of economics or value for money, legality with regards to the procurement method, and constitutionality with regards to separation of functions as laid out in the Constitution. It would appear that there are people who are pursuing a business agenda rather than pursuing an agenda of provision of healthcare to Kenyans. This Senate will support you. This Senate will have you'll have the support of this Senate in prosecuting these matters. It is our job to continually oversight. We are not going to dismantle government policies, especially those that arise from legislation that has been passed by this House. But we must guide on implementation and ensure that it is within the law, and whatever procurement decisions that are made are those that offer value for money to people rather than a few cartels. When you have this kind of arrangements, there's a huge temptation for price fixing. There's a huge temptation for very non-competitive habits. At the end of the day, even if Nyeri is not paying, Kenya is paying. And if the left pocket is not paying, the right pocket is paying. And we are all equally poor. Now, there are a number of issues in these reports.
Just one question, just to add up. Governor, when the defunct NHIF went under, we saw the faith-based complaining that they had not been paid their dues. For example, Nyeri County government, you are waiting reimbursement from defunct NHIF. How have they paid you, or how much? How much, now that you are the Vice Chair of Council of Governors, how much does the NHIF owe to you as a county of Nyeri? And can you give us maybe figures that the NHIF, defunct NHIF owes the other 46 counties? Because we are being told, I think a few weeks ago, we are being told by the end of November, all faith-based facilities were supposed to receive money from SHA and also county entities, because the fact that you cannot receive your reimbursement from defunct NHIF and now the SHA or Social Health Authority, then how much does Nyeri being owed by defunct NHIF now SHA and other counties? And because the other faith-based facilities also had complained that they had not been paid money.
Governor?
The last time I think we were talking about 30 billion.
To all counties?
Yes, to all counties. And we also owed, I think, KEMSA close to that amount of money. There was even a talk that whether we were trying to look for a way of that they could pay, but so far nothing has been paid.
Of this 30 billion that is being owed to counties by defunct NHIF, has any been paid by?
None so far, because the only money that was paid, we saw, was paid to insurance. You know, they didn't pay the counties. Even so far, no shilling has been paid.
To counties?
Yes, to counties.
What, for example, Nyeri, how much is owed by?
Last time I checked, I think we were owed about, PGH was owed 78 million. It was coming to almost 100 and something. I don't have the figures, but I know PGH alone, there was 78 million owed. That is one hospital, but since they operated
approximately in the entire...
Approximately must have been around 150, 160
million.
Yes.
Chair, you know, I would be said to be a conflicted person because these days we speak and we are said to be rebels in government. If you listen to the State of the Nation address by the President, he had committed that in the next 2 weeks, he will have paid every due that is owed by the counties. I hope the national government knows that in the next 2 weeks, they only have tomorrow to have cleared every debt that is owed by SHA to the counties, because at least for once the President can say something that will come to fruition. I mean, his 2 weeks will be the 2 weeks for the first time, because we have had in the next 2 weeks, in the next 1 month, in the next 3 days, in the first 100 days. At least we can see the first 2 weeks or the next 2 weeks, because I had most of you actually stand to give a standing ovation to the President, because he said that he will, in the next 2 weeks, ensure that every money that is owed to the counties is paid. I hope you shall remind him, especially those of you who gave him a standing ovation. I'm actually surprised that you're giving him a standing ovation.
Point of order.
He has committed a crime, he has withdrawn the crime, then you give him a standing ovation. I don't understand really.
Point of order, Chair. I think point of relevance in the discussion that we are doing.
I mean, we are speaking about SHA and Chief. It is relevant. It's actually very relevant. You are the one that have asked that question. Now that the governor has answered the question, I'm giving further information. I'm sure it is not very sweet to you, but it is further information. It is important information to you, Senator Cherargei.
No, it is important, I agree, but...
And very relevant to the discussion.
At least, Chair, to be fair, at least the reason we are finding out from governor is that when the CS of health appears, we now put that CS to task why that payment has not been paid. And we had agreed that by November, the end of November, the entire money that was being owed by the defunct and NHIF should have been paid. Because now we have had the version of Council of Governors through the Vice Chair, Mwalimu Kaiga. We need also the Ministry of Health, because we are not the Treasury. We are not aware whether money has been
Honorable
paid.
members, just to make progress, let me say that...
But I want to ask Met also, since he is a friend to the President and they talk, sometimes he can also make put a call.
Gentlemen, let's proceed.
Chair, allow me to make a correction, because I have just received the correct figures. Counties owe KEMSA 3.4 billion. The NHIF owes counties 5.9 billion. That is the information I've just gotten from COG. So that is the correct. 5.9 is what we are owed by NHIF, but KEMSA is owed 3.4 by counties. Yeah.
So if you are to be paid, you can pay back
immediately, so that we also, because we are not even getting supplies now.
But maybe to give you comfort, Vice Chair of the Council of Governors.
Oh, I thought me.
The Vice Chair of the Council of Governors, to give you comfort, you should not have any shadow of worry. You only have tomorrow. On Thursday, because it will be 2 weeks since it was made as a commitment, you shall have been paid all your money. The President said so, so just wait. It's only tomorrow and the day after tomorrow.
The time, Senator Matthew, the time has not lapsed. So let's be...
That's why I'm giving him the benefit of doubt. I'm just giving him...
Let's be concerned when the time lapses.
Thank you.
And, I think Methu for the first time is being a truthful man.
And for the record, I like the new Methu.
Yes.
And I also liked the old Cherargei. Before that vote. So we now need to go, gentlemen, we must go and deal with the CS for health. Because we've gotten the numbers. Huh? Imesha, did she come? Okay. Yeah, but I wanted to give directions as follows. Because at the beginning of this meeting, I mentioned that the issues raised by the Auditor General in this report were fairly, or was grossly underwhelming. And we got the impression that financial systems are perfect in Nyeri, which I do not think, I've never seen a perfect government anywhere. So we have already agreed with the Auditor General. Right now they are on the ground. We need greater vigor. We have already highlighted some of the areas where we need clarity on whether things are being done lawfully and effectively. We've already given directions on on-source revenue, the various areas that you need to advise us on. I think there was an issue that we had asked EACC to deal with. The remaining issues in this report relate to lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. Patrick, we had agreed that you will not just be talking of prior year matters. You'll be highlighting them so that we do not lose track of prior year matters.
Yeah, that's what we agreed.
Yes. And secondly, on projects, we had also agreed that we don't just do an omnibus commentary. On projects, we need to list down the significant projects, especially those that are incomplete, stalled for various reasons, and are not providing value for money.
That's what we agreed.
So we are hoping that when you report back to Parliament on 31st of December, we are going to get a more comprehensive report. It's really not to, we are not saying that muende mtafute makosa, but you must live to the constitutional requirement that you should report whether public funds were used lawfully and effectively. We will therefore ask the Auditor General to conclude their audit, maybe with that slight expansion of scope. I don't think it's an expansion of scope, but it's just greater rigor, so that we will take the report that will come to Parliament on 31st of December 2024, and then we'll look at it alongside the other issues that we have not addressed before us. So that then will bring this meeting to a close, to allow the senators to deal with other matters. Governor, we are supposed to be dealing with CARA, and CARA requires 2/3
Yes.
for us to overturn the presidential memorandum.
Point of information, I'm told from the official WhatsApp group of the Senate that the chair and vice chair cannot be traced to give a CARA report. The majority leader is complaining on our official
The chair and the vice chair.
The chair and the vice chair of CARA cannot be traced to give us a report before we break for recess.
Well, we'll deal with some of these things.
Maybe
but,
that information is actually important, but I know the chair of the Finance Committee, Senator Roba, and the vice chair is Senator Tabitha. So their absence cannot raise a lot of questions. Only the absence of Senator Karungo, Senator Nyoto, Senator Murango will raise a lot of questions because it will be pointing to an abduction. Those are the only people that are being followed at
please
this
be
moment.
careful what you pray for.
Point of order, chair.
Be careful what you are.
Senator Metu has such information. Is Parliament police.
Those Subarus, Cherargei has been in them. So
Yes, I am an expert.
Don't
If
pray-
you are worried, you
don't
should be
pray for them.
consulting me.
No, yeah, but it's now our time. So I mean,
I'm not
just the
a-
same way he was crying, we have to also cry.
Chair, having been an expert of being abducted by Subarus, I'm not aware of such intention. And in any case, if he has any information, the police station is just across here. I will work with him. You know, I'm also an advocate of the High Court. I can work with him to the police
and
station
represent him.
to assure him of his safety.
But we even took ourselves to the DCI and we were chased away. We were told the time for abduction is not now. Just wait, just go away.
Yeah, you know, you beat yourself and then you go to the police station.
I think it should
I
be
think this meeting is degenerating.
degenerating to something else, led by Murima Defense Forces.
I think
Chief
let's
General,
bring
yeah.
this meeting to a close. We didn't have a lot of issues in this report, and that's why we are asking the Auditor General to do a little bit more. So we will be bringing this to a close with closing remarks, if any, from the members of the Senate present. Vice Chair.
Maybe Chair is just to thank Governor Kaiga Mutai and congratulate him of being elected the Vice Chair of Council of Governors. We hope to have the vibrancy of Council of Governors. Number two, Chair, is to appeal to Council of Governors through the Vice Chair to be careful. There are many people who want to kill devolution. Don't allow clawback. As we have said, the issue of markets, the issue of industrial parks, the issue of subsidized fertilizer, the issue of provision of medical equipments, you need to be on high alert. And I want to appeal to Council of Governors that you need to work closely with the Senate. The Senate is one of your strongest partners to ensure we protect devolution as per Article 96. Number three, Chair, is to appeal that kindly work with intergovernmental relations, technical committee, and also work with the Senate to anchor Council of Governors under the law, because Governor, we have taken a position that all governors who pay monies to Council of Governors is illegal, irregular, and unprocedural until you pass the amendment. I know there is CAF, County Assemblies Forums for Speakers. There is also SOCAT. There is also the new one called AMCA, Association of Members of County Assembly. And even regional blocks. I know in Central you have a regional block. We have LREP, we have Jumuiya Pwani. We have all those blocks, and we saw one of the governors was paying money. So please, kindly, as Council of Governors, why don't you anchor the Council of Governors under the law, so that even as you push your agenda, you go to court, you are an entity that can be financed through the taxpayers' money, because that is, and finally, is to wish you well as you build your legacy term. I hope by the fact you said you should not be disturbed up to 2027 is that you are busy working for the people of Nyeri and legacy. Otherwise, we wish you well and pass our regards to our very good friend in Wamunyora. I thank you, Chair.
Governor, your closing remarks, brief.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to take this opportunity. Sometimes it's usually refreshing when we appear before this committee and the others of the Senate. Like I had said from the onset, is that we hold the Senate with a lot of high esteem, and especially since this has been proven over time. Some of the laws that Senator Cherargei is speaking are before you are the House, especially on entrenchment of COG in the law. We are looking forward to ensuring that we will be able to get positive returns on the same. One time in the Senate, our current governor, who was a senator, said that governments eat their people. I just want to tell Senator Methu to just walk with it. It's you today. Tomorrow it will be Cherargei. Don't worry. Even those
but mine governor has passed.
Yeah, but it can always
so,
come back.
it might not.
What I would want to say is this, that currently, as we walk towards 2027, you know, the atmosphere is going to be a little bit hotter and whatever. But let us keep doing what we need to do. Let us never remove our eyes from the goal, because history will judge us unfairly if we really do not stand for what we think we should. Otherwise, I want to appreciate, we take a lot of every word, every advice spoken here with a lot of positivity. We'll look into it. The ESCC can just stick back without coming to harass us. We are saying we are able to account for the fuel and everything that we have. We will work towards that. As I sit here, Chair, I would want to humbly request the Senate to take a more proactive role by focusing on the controller of budget. We have a big problem in the office of the controller of budget. Money is released from Treasury, it hits our CRF, and that money, the least time you can spend to get that money is 1 month. I am well aware you advised on the issue of automation. I personally do not see why we cannot Treasury cannot automate all the systems so that we run everything. If we are running IFMIS on automation, every process, even the clearance, because surely we have the AOG here, but unfortunately, half their work is done at the COB. I'll give an example. We want to pay for a medical cover and we are asked from COB to begin with by bringing to that office procurement documents, starting at that level. You really see that is I do not believe that, because we have had other COBs. We had Agnes Odhiambo and others before who have, so the Treasury indicating that counties are holding a lot of money in their CRF, yet it is money we cannot access. It costs a lot to have these officers in Nairobi for 3 weeks following up with this matter. I think Senate has to just step in and ask what is really happening in that office. So that, because I do remember in our last IBEC meeting, we asked the COB, kindly do a letter, go sit with all CEC's finance, Give them the requirements, one after the other. Even if it's 200 of them, give it to them so that they just have a checklist. It was done. Unfortunately, we have ignored all what we gave and we create new ones every other day. So I think that is a problem that I must say governors are going through, counties are getting held back. And let me give you an example. The late payments sometimes attract penalties, which we cannot afford to pay. Thank you, Chair. I really appreciate it.
I think as we close this, I know Nancy Kendi from the Office of the Control of Budget is present, but they are our partners and we work together. And we consult from time to time on how to improve the processes where we are involved by the Constitution. The control of budget has a very interesting constitutional responsibility. The controller shall not approve any withdrawal from a public fund unless satisfied that the withdrawal is authorized by law. And that is Article 2285. The control of budget draws the power from that provision. And I do not think that if your job was to protect the consolidated fund or the county revenue fund, that anyone who knocks on the door, you will open. You definitely must ask certain questions. So the extent of the questions, the depth or the width of the questions is what then comes into contention. We must support the Office of the Control of Budget, number one, to automate, so that that satisfaction that is required by the Constitution, it can be done seamlessly. You don't have to come to Nairobi with a Form C. I think there's a famous Form C, which CECs still carry. That is outdated. Secondly, we must have clear regulations for the Office of Controller of Budget so that everyone knows what to expect. And we must have clear procedures and manuals so that your CC knows what to expect. If you are coming to requisition for insurance payments, you have been given a checklist of what to come up with so that you are not sent back. I don't think these are things that are beyond us. And what we need to do is to engage rather than to clobber each other. I think the onslaught on the COB has been quite heavy of late, whereas sometimes the problem is with Dr. Ndungu at the Treasury. So Council of Governors, COB, EACC, and all the stakeholders here, we will achieve much more if we were to work together to seek solutions. I know that where the problem lies when it comes to automation must be from Dr. Ndungu at Treasury and Central Bank. I've had a conversation with the controller. Their office, they're ready and willing to automate. But then there are certain resources, there are certain interfaces that are required, which they've not been able to get. So let's support them to do the right thing. And just to close, Governor, you and I, we've been around for some time, and we now understand how devolution works from different perspectives. You from the ground and us at the legislative and upper level. I agree with you that by the time Senator Methu becomes the governor of Nyandarua, God willing, or by the time Senator Cherargei becomes the governor of Nandi, he'll be left with very little. He'll just be paying salaries because medical equipment decisions will have been made, market decisions will have been made, water decisions will have been made, agriculture fertilizer decisions will have been made, including tractors, and maybe road decisions will have been made. What does a governor do? So if you're not careful, we will be remaining with a shell. We'll just be payroll masters. In fact, counties will be less effective than the defunct local authorities. Defunct local authorities, I think Nyeri as a municipality, maybe you had a broader scope, because I know at least in Nairobi, secondary schools were the responsibility of the municipalities, and even certain expanded services. So with time, we might realize that these counties are even smaller, and that's why they're generating less revenue compared to the defunct municipalities and local authorities. But we will not relent. On division of revenue, we fought. We insisted on 400 billion and nothing less than that. But there were other factors that brought us back to 387 billion. I was in the mediation that arrived at 400 billion, and we thought that that was a reducible minimum. If we go back to 387 billion, there are certain projects that we must cut out. I'm currently involved in mediation on the additional allocations, and it would appear county aggregation and industrial parks might then be brought down in terms of priority, because it requires you to spend 250 million and the national government to put in 250 million. It is my view that counties cannot afford that 250 million, because the 2 billion increment did not even take into account the inflationary pressure beside the other non-discretionary expenditure. So we can always find a solution, but at the end of the day, Kenya belongs to all of us. Let us look at the expenditure of the national government as our money. If SHA is spending recklessly, let's call it out. And I do hope that from time to time we can put aside the politics of the day, the political persuasion, because Kenyan politics is extremely fluid, but speak the voice of the people. I think that is a voice that is consistent. The voice of God and the voice of the people. That is consistent. Politics, today, Methu is a darling, tomorrow is not. We've been calling him the assistant majority leader, because you could not separate him with Senator Cheriot in persecuting the opposition. So he persecuted the opposition for 2 years. Now he's the one in the line of fire. Senator Methu, I'm glad that you have learned how Kenyan politics works in a very fast manner. Now he's the assistant minority leader from being the assistant majority leader, and perhaps the de facto leader of minority in the House. But let's be consistent to speak the voice of the people and to speak the voice of God. Some of the things we are seeing here are inconsistent with the wishes of the people. The meeting is hereby adjourned. We meet tomorrow, Wednesday. It will be a hybrid meeting at 8 in the morning for purposes of adoption of minutes and reports. So clerks, please set that up. But substantively, we'll meet on Thursday at 9:30. We wish you a safe journey back home.